Sandip Roy also joining us. Sandip Roy has in fact been talking in his articles. He's written a lot about this, really moving pieces as well. How are you celebrating today, Sandip Roy?
By talking to you.
Congratulations.
It's been a crazy day. I've been feeling, I don't think I've felt this way since I was waiting for the results of my board exams. Ever since I heard the verdict would be announced this morning, I went to sleep last night, both with anticipation and a thudding heart.
I know. And you know, I think different parts of this judgment mean different things to different people. Some are quoting the fact that, you know, the Chief Justice of India said, I am what I am. Other people are quoting the fact that he said that, you know, it's biological, it's not a... Which part of this judgment really touches you?
You know, this is a huge judgment. To think that 4 judges read out judgment is massive. And I'm sure if I read through more, other parts will jump out at me. But that first thing, I am what I am, was really profound because it made you realize that no matter how out you might be right now, no matter how comfortable you are and well supported by your friends and loved by your family, you've marched in Pride Parade. But I don't think anybody who is queer in India has at some point or the other not dealt with that pain of not being who they are, of feeling, you know, that I am what I am, feeling that they have to somehow shove themselves into a box in which they don't quite fit. And it has left scars, even though some of us have gotten much better than others at disguising those scars with, you know, jokes and accessories and whatnot. But those scars are there. And to hear the highest court of the land acknowledge that pain, and to say that the country owes LGBT people an apology for something like this that has been imposed on them for so long. Even to someone like me who's written about it so many times, it really stopped me in my tracks and brought a lump to my throat, because in the end, we're just like everybody else. You know, we just want that validation and from people around us. And it does, even as we might try to deny it, it does mean a lot to get that validation from the highest court of the land.
I so agree. Are you a little disappointed, though, that the political class is not celebrating as much, or the fact that they could have been embracing it much more, been more proactive in their role, or does that not matter anymore?
I wish to say it doesn't matter, but it is a dereliction of duty. I mean, in an ideal country, you would have thought that the political class would have done the right thing as opposed to hidden behind the robes of the judges. There were politicians like Shashi Tharoor and even Arun Jaitley who have spoken up in favor of this issue. I have seen BJP politicians at the Kashish Film Festival in Mumbai. But, you know, as a whole, yes, the political class has been found lacking. When Shashi Tharoor tried to move the private member bill, they did not support him. It was not allowed to be brought up. And in terms of what you were saying right now with the RSS reaction and what Devdutt was saying a minute ago, I was thinking that given that this law is a legacy of Macaulay, the RSS and BJP of all people should be happy today that a Macaulay Putra has been found illegitimate by the court.
I know. Are you surprised by the RSS reaction? Because it sounds, they sound like they're welcoming it, and then they go on to say that they still don't accept it. I mean, they look at it not as a criminal problem, but as a health issue or a psychological issue.
But you see, that is also a sign of progress. You know, at the very least, they're not saying that this is un-Indian and must be cast aside. These are spawn of the devil or things like that. I mean, I think it is an Indian thing. I've said this before. In the West, the idea of coming out has often been a lonely act. You come out and you buy a one-way ticket on a bus that takes you from a small town in the middle of America to a big city like San Francisco or New York. In India, you come out of the closet and then you find your whole family has gone into the closet with you, because the whole issue is about don't tell anyone. So in a sense, as this is right, it is an inclusive culture in weird ways. And the RSS is in its own way, you have to say, trying to make space for it, even it's something that it is uncomfortable with. So I have heard this line before where they say that we are against criminal decriminalization. We must not be homophobic, but we cannot accept it as something natural. So I count that on today, as we want to celebrate, I count that as a sign of movement and say, okay, you've come this far. Maybe tomorrow you'll come a little further.
That's such an optimistic way to look at it. Sandip, a final question is, where do you see, who do you think will be impacted the most? Whose life do you think will immediately change?
I think it would be a mistake to think of this as some kind of a silver bullet. Because if after this verdict, somebody goes to their office tomorrow and says, I am gay, I'm fabulous, they might still get fired. And then they can't say, you can't fire me because, the Supreme Court yesterday said that being gay, that Section 377 was arbitrary. Because the fight for non-discrimination and all of these will continue. This was a first and necessary step. But I think it has an ineffable effect on all of us, whether we are out or not, whether we are trapped in heterosexual marriages because we were not able to say no, because it lifts a cloud from above all our heads. It feels like I wanted to say at the beginning that ever since I heard this verdict was going to come out, I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was holding my breath and now I can exhale. But now I realize that really I've been holding my breath for most of my life.
My God.
And to be able to breathe now is something very profound that I think affects all of us.
Well, that is such a moving thing to say, Sandip. Enjoy this day. We're all celebrating. It is such a moment for human rights. So thank you so much for sharing that with us.